Now, you've probably all seen that where these, well, I don't know, stalkers, I guess is what you'd have to call them, were following that cinema into the bathroom and followed after she got off the plane, and they were going after the other guy too, you know, any of these Democrats that aren't going along with the program, that are even hinting that they aren't going to go along with the program. Now, you know, the impression you get right away is, oh, these are just normal constituents who are upset, you know, and that isn't the story there. Now, these people belong to an organization, and there's a lot of these little organizations that are all funded with Soros money. So, like when that woman says to her, you know, kind of to paraphrase, but kind of like, we put you into this position and we can take you out of it. That isn't her speaking, that's Soros speaking. You know, he's got his fingers in a lot of this stuff. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure from that organization to get them people to toe the line. Because there's been a little revolting going on here. And once this starts, it's going to be hard to stop. The good thing is, from Soros's point of view, you know, they've got so many people in the bag already. You know, there's so many district attorneys and state's attorneys and all, you know, they know what they're doing, you know, the Soros organization. They kind of built this from one end to the other. But now when it gets to the senators, you know, they thought they had them sewed up. They've got a lot of goods on these people. So you're going to see a lot of stuff come out if these people actually go through with this and don't go along with the party line. You're seeing already, you know, rumblings they haven't gotten too serious because they're still hoping that they can get them to toe the line. But if they don't, they are going to just crush them, you know, any way that they can. You know, I don't know how they're going to avoid it. You know, how they're going to try to stay, you know, a lot of them, you know, there's talk, because they could easily, rather than being Democrats, they could just say, enough of this, I'm going to be independent, which, like I said before, is what they should be doing. People should be independent, but there really isn't any independence anymore because Soros has bought them all up. You know, it's a very calculated move on his part. But he's put a lot of effort into this, and he does really want to see these two people taking down his whole scheme. You know, it's funny, you know, oh, like say, now they had that leaked Pandora Papers. And the interesting part, this is people all over the world, all the little corruption stuff that's been going on, you know, people stashing money here and stashing money there, and, you know, that happens all the time. But the funny part about this, in these papers, it doesn't mention any people from in this country, whereas we're just endlessly corrupt. You know, it doesn't even mention Soros or anybody in the U.S. or in Canada. You know, they're keeping this kind of in their back pocket. They got this they can pull out any time. But anytime you get these anonymous leaks, there's a agenda they got going there. But it's, in fact, the first suspicion is that this anonymous leak was a CIA maneuver, because they would, of course, have the goods on all this stuff. I mean, they've got all of the copies of all of these transfers and stuff. They're the most likely culprit, really. But then they gave it to these journalists. Well, journalism is kind of a dead thing. So I don't know what will become of that. But I can guarantee you there is a whole trove of stuff that has to do with this country. But they don't dare bring that out, because that would ruin the whole plan, because I tell you, there's a lot of our politicians that are really up to their neck in corruption. And they've been stashing money all over, including Biden. I mean, but this has been going on for a long, long time. And it's always been kept under wraps. But now that they went and turned loose the stuff going out of the country, what's going on, I think it's to remind people, toe the line, because we got the goods on the people in the country. And if they turn that loose, it's just going to tear this country apart. But it is funny how, like they don't really like to ever bring Soros up. Oh, he's a boogeyman. You don't. That man is behind most of the problems that we have in this country for the last, even 10 years or longer, even back to when Obama first got in. He was, Soros was already involved back then. And it isn't like he quit. I mean, he's just working through these different foundations, kind of slipping around. It amazes me that people don't see that and didn't see it earlier and shut him down a long time ago, because you shouldn't have one person being able to just toy with our whole government, and that's what he has been doing. But it's gotten to the point like now that he's got so many politicians and judges, and it's just an endless list of people who he has influenced, who he has put into power and can take out of power, that he is able to slide on this stuff. And nobody dares go against him. But they really have to take him down. That's the only way you're ever going to get this country back, is to take him down, and not just him. I mean, he's got kids that are involved in this too. Because like I say, when Harris was first put in, as vice president, I saw that picture, her shaking hands with George Soros' son. Now, that was, because who was she? She had no qualifications for this, but she got put in there because she was a shill for Soros. Because his theory is now he's going to own the president. But that's where it's upsetting to him, when these two Democrats, who he thought he had bought and paid for, don't want to stay bought. He can't have that. It sets a bad precedent. So he is going to pull out all the stops, and all these little organizations, because even all this protest with the BLM, all that stuff, that was all funded by Soros. And now he's got these two people to deal with, and he's got all those resources to go after him. They're going to have a tough time. That's going to be a lot of pressure. And they are not going to get any sympathy from any of the Democrats now, because they would dare to say anything positive about maybe doing your job. They aren't going to speak up. And the whole legal system like I say, it's pretty much bought and paid for by Soros, so I can't see that. You know, it's going to be a problem. I'm glad to see that they're holding their ground now, but it's going to be very hard. But somebody, sometime, has just got to put an end to him. Or we're just going to lose the country completely. I mean, it's circling under their aim now. I don't know. It's going to be hard to... But you should really be able to look back. Look at all of these people, all these judges and all these politicians. If in the past they have ever accepted money from Soros, they are suspect and should be dealt with. That's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. Just look at their records of who they got their donations from. If Soros is involved in there, they have to be gone.